Good morning. How are you today? This is such great weather. You don't understand how good it is until you have it. See, I got company today. See, look at this. Hi. I don't know if you can see him or not. Well, um, we just don't learn. We just don't learn. I'm talking about guns. Boulder, Colorado, last night, a 21-year-old got a gun that until 10 days ago he was not permitted to get, and he killed 10 people at a grocery store. This is an old story that, as a matter of government, we don't seem to get. Only 10 days ago, a court prevented that order that barred people from getting these kinds of guns. And then here we have it, a police officer dead who changed his whole life around from being an IT specialist to being an officer at the law. And he comes with rave reviews for his professional life, for his sacrifice to his family and income and everything else. And he ends up being one of the first responders, and he gets shot and is killed. There is a story, a great story, of how the employees at the grocery store helped others get out without being harmed, about how a mother was smart enough to recognize the 3-second interval between the shots so that she knew when she could move in those 3 seconds with her son to escape. And when she came out, she saw bodies on the ground. So this is a terrible incident, and perhaps it could have been avoided. In the days ahead, we'll find out. But my first experience on the Hill with this question was Columbine in 1999. And, you know, we remember Parkland as particularly devastating. That is, the youths coming forward and talking on behalf of themselves, and those couldn't talk anymore because they died in the incident. So what is wrong with America and guns? In 1999 with Columbine, since I was on the Hill, and this was an issue that I got to work on, I got to see how there were members of Congress who didn't even care if they put their own families at risk by relaxing gun regulations. So, we're talking about the obvious things. People with protective orders, with mental deficits, with felonies of a violent nature, with court orders of various sorts, shouldn't have guns. That certain kinds of weapons, people shouldn't have at all. I once had a congressman joke to me that he'd become liberal about gun ownership, and now he was opposed to people owning cruise missiles. Well, that's not funny. And the trouble is, there is a feeling that probably some of these yahoos feel that way. It's an American fetish. If you look at the OK Corral, for an example, when those guys fought at the OK Corral, they weren't allowed to go into the town with their guns. That's why they fought at the OK Corral. They actually were respecting the law on guns when they were fighting at the OK Corral, which we've seen in movies and heard about stories, and somewhere buried in all of that stuff is a belief system. So the question is, will this Congress be able to do anything about it? Will they actually sit down and try to repair our messed up system that allows people who shouldn't be near weapons to own them, that allows people to have weapons that no one needs for any reason at all? So that's the bad story today, and we'll hear more details. And some people just try to say it's a troubled 21-year-old. But yeah, he wouldn't have the means to kill anybody if we'd enforce these gun laws, because he's got to be a candidate for a person who wouldn't have had guns until that court 10 days ago said that the ban on such weapons, we don't need that anymore. The second matter that I think is interesting is that Biden realizes he has a problem with Congress and a problem having an aggressive agenda. So he's going to take advantage of the reconciliation bill to put together another package. And this one's on infrastructure, roads, tunnels, bridges. It means employment. It means a better economic nation. It means an infusion into the economy to help us recover. It's a sensational idea. And of course, the Republicans are opposed to it because where's the funds going to come from? A tax on corporations. And, you know, we've been reading stories in recent days from various people about how the wealthy got even wealthier during the pandemic. And I don't begrudge anybody doing well. But in America, for many years now, the productivity that has increased to the benefit of the capitalists has not been shared with the workers, a factor of our economy that made possible the productivity. So we've created this distance in which those workers who've increased productivity aren't getting the benefit of savings they might have with that increased income to ward off disasters like the pandemic, to choose one example. So anyhow, that said, I think combined with the research that they're doing on the Hill about how to get around the filibuster, I think it's good that they've got another sensational idea, which is infrastructure. If you remember, Schumer and others, when Trump took office, said, well, there's one thing we could agree on. Let's agree on infrastructure. Never happened. And, you know, Republicans know enough to talk about it, but they always have reservations and problems and exceptions and so forth. So those are a couple of my thoughts for the day. The weather is fabulous, and it's too bad I have to work today. And I may not make it tomorrow because one of the reasons I'm working so hard today is we have a deposition tomorrow in a case I'm handling. So I have to prepare for that. So if I can, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll be back on Thursday. And I hope all's well with you. And you got to get out in this weather if it's anything like it is here in Virginia. All the best. Bye-bye.